Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host, Yeukai Kechidori.
Hey guys, welcome back to another very special episode. And today, I'm thrilled to be having on the show Simon Popple. Now, as you know, there's a lot of things happening in the world we live today. There's a lot of uncertainty. And today, I'm truly blessed to be having on the show somebody who is going to be sharing with you something slightly different than what I normally bring to you. And we're going to be talking about gold. You know, a lot of people sort of shy away from investing in gold, but today you're going to discover why now is the best time to get started in gold. Simon, thank you for joining us on the show.
Great to be here.
Well, Simon Popple has a 10-year successful track record of investing in gold, an asset that's been around for thousands of years, which very few people have paid very little attention to it. With debt and equities and real estate investment looking less attractive, it's time to look at gold. As you know, when it comes to investment, timing is everything. And today, it looks like it is the right time for you to be investing in gold. Simon, once again, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Great to be here.
Now, for those who haven't come across your work, Simon, just give us a snapshot of who you are and what you've done in the past few years.
No, sure. Well, I mean, my background is EA, investing, corporate finance, working in the city, and then more recently the property market. But about 10 years ago, I saw what I thought was a huge opportunity to get involved in the gold market. And so, yeah, and I was probably a bit early leaving property, but it's I think gold has got massive potential, and now it's, you know, as you said at the top of the show, it's all about timing. And fortunately, having been involved in the market for so long, writing a newsletter for Money Peak and Agora Financial, the timing is fantastic to be involved in the gold market.
Indeed. You know, when we were talking earlier on, you mentioned an interesting fact about Warren Buffett that sort of comes in line with what we were talking about. Would you share with our audience what you told me earlier on?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it surprised the hell out of me, if I'm honest, but over the last 20 years, the gold price has actually outperformed Berkshire Hathaway. So, you know, we're not talking about a snapshot of 2 or 3 years. We're talking 20 years. And that's the gold price of Berkshire Hathaway. So, you know, my investments are in the miners, which is a leveraged return on the gold price. So that's why I think it's really exciting. And just to add a bit of to what I've just said, in their last quarterly report, Berkshire Hathaway basically told the world that they'd been exiting airlines, divesting a lot of their banking stocks, and moving into gold. They've actually got a meaningful position in Barrick now, one of the world's largest gold companies. So there's a real sea change in opinion.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. You know, with so much respect we have for Warren Buffett, you know, what he does, one has to pay attention to that because that points out to where things are going. So we are thrilled to be having you on the show to talk about gold. Now, you and I know that there are some misconceptions around investing in gold. What's the number one misconception you have come across that you would like to sort of clarify for our audience today?
Yeah, well, I think that one of the reasons why people have not invested in gold in the past, one of the main arguments against gold, has been it doesn't yield anything. And but you know, if you look at where we are today with interest rates, you know, a lot of interest rates are negative, or even the ones that have got such a low yield, right, that I think people, and you know, the opportunity cost of gold versus some sort of fixed income has started to disappear. And so the main rationale for not holding gold has now gone. And so I think that people really ought to, you know, be looking at it.
Indeed, absolutely. And for those who have other questions, what is the most popular question that you've been asked when it comes to investing in gold?
I think probably the most common one is, the gold price is now at all-time highs. Is it going to go down? But, if you look at the fundamentals, the answer is, it's probably no. I mean, no one knows for sure, but what is particularly interesting in this time is that there was an article in the Evening Standard a couple of weeks ago about 49 out of 100 of the 100 companies had either slashed their dividends or stopped paying their dividends, whereas a lot of gold producers are not only maintaining their dividend, but they're actually increasing their dividend gold price. And what is interesting at the moment, with particularly obviously producers, is I'm sure that the opposite of a perfect storm is, let's call it a perfect paradise, but you've got an increasing gold price and you've got decreasing energy costs, oil, which are a major component of mining and processing gold. So you've got the price going up and the cost going down. So I think now is a very good time to be looking at the market.
Indeed. Well, one of the questions I often like to ask our guest is, what is the perfect mindset to go into investing in gold? Would you say?
I think diversification is probably the name of the game.
Right.
What you want to do is you want to diversify not only geographically. You don't want all your eggs in one country, in one basket. But I'd also recommend having some exposure to silver as well. So I think that you need to take a very diversified approach. So you're invested in several companies and several geographies to make sure that you're not overexposed to any particular company or geography.
Indeed. Incredible. Let's dive on into the common mistakes that you have come across that business owners or anyone make when they are trying to get into this industry.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main mistake people make is when you get a bull run in gold, and it's a bit like property as well, to be honest, is that you feel like you can make no mistakes. And I made a lot of money in the last bull market, but then I also lost a lot because you do need to sell. And I think that gold and property are quite similar there, where people probably put they're initially going to put X, let's say £10,000 in the property market, and they ended up putting 100 or $500,000 or a huge amount of money, a lot more than they were intending. And but I was told never love anything that can't love you back, and property and gold certainly don't love you back. And so when the market turns, you need to make sure you're out of it. And I would certainly say with certainly the gold market, you want to get in there, make some money, but make sure that you do get out of it as well.
Yes, yeah, incredible. So to avoid that mistake, what would you recommend?
I think you need to have a strategy as to what you're looking to achieve, what level of risk you want to take, and stick to your strategy. And so if you get to a point where you've made a certain amount of money, don't be greedy. Take it off the table, and no one knows what the next big investment idea is today. But make sure you take your profits. And one of the biggest mistakes I made was I buy a stock for, let's say, 10 cents. It would go up to 50. I would sell, and then I'd see it go up to 100. I'd buy back in. I'd go up to 300. I'd then sell, and then I'd put a whole load of money in it, 400, and then it would crash down to 10 cents or something. So once you're out of the stock, you do need discipline. I mean, it's actually it sounds a strange thing to say, but I mean, I think that if you invest in the right companies, you can make a lot of money. But that's only half the story. You then need to have a strategy where you keep that money,
right?
And there is actually a massive skill in that as well.
Incredible, absolutely. And of course, you mentioned earlier on that you've got people that you help. You normally talk about how to help them in that strategy as well. Am I correct to say that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I do is I have a weekly report called the Brookville Capital Intelligence Report, and I break all my ideas of companies that I think people should look at into a fantasy football team. So what I do is I've got your goalkeepers, which are your massive companies, defenders, which are large companies, midfielders are perhaps new to production, and forwards are your sort of out and out explorers. So what I do is make people are aware of the risk that they're taking, that all mining companies are different. And I use something called the bridge system, which stands for balance sheet, resources, infrastructure, diversification, grade, and exploration potential, to analyze these companies. So I'm trying to educate people as well about how they should analyze the market, analyze companies, and in particular, look at any red flags that should perhaps put them off making an investment.
Awesome. Absolutely great. Now, Simon, let's talk about the necessary steps that suppose anyone listening here, they are hearing that there is a possibility of doing well in this industry. What can they do now to get started?
Yeah, well, I think a lot, as I say, a lot depends on what their strategy is and what they want to do and what they want to gold is viewed not only as an investment but as a form of insurance as well.
Yeah.
And so I think that if you want to take lower risk, you're better off looking at what I would call goalkeeper. And I've got the physical metals in as stadiums. So I would, for someone who wants to take the lowest risk exposure to the sector, I think that actually owning the physical metals and perhaps a few of the world's largest gold companies is a good starting point. And then if people like to speculate a little bit, the forwards, i.e. the out-and-out explorers, in a real bull market, big up 10, 50, even 100 times in value. So depending on your appetite, if you've got a high appetite for risk, you may want to have a few of those. But as I said at the top of the show, you want to be diversified, not have all your eggs in one basket. So, some of them don't work out. You only need one really to work out. And in the report that I write, we've probably got 3 out of 25 that have worked out. So people are very happy.
Incredible. Well, incredible. So once they've got a strategy, they just need to go ahead and, of course, get a mentor like yourself to show them what to do. Would that be correct to say?
Yeah, I think that a mentor is a good term. I mean, I think that if they want to just take the minimum risk, then I would suggest people do some research themselves and buy the physical gold or physical silver. But if they're looking for more of a return as well, then I think that's where I can really help them, because the mining market is, excuse the phrase, a minefield, and you do need to know what you're doing if you're investing in it.
Yes. Yeah. So you mentioned about strategy. Why is this an important first step?
I think it's so important to sort of have a process and follow some guidelines in terms of doing what you're doing, because it's like anything. If a market really takes off, you'll be given tips left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
Friends, family, and anyone you meet really. And by using the bridge system and putting things through some sort of analysis, then you're kind of deciding whether or not they're right for you. And I think the temptation for a lot of people is, if a market takes off, just chuck money into anything that has got a gold or silver angle to it. And initially that may work for them, but over a short to medium period of time, that could really bite them. And so, they do need to know what they're doing.
Incredible. I can hear somebody thinking, okay, how long will it take me from when I say I'm getting started to actually begin to get results that I'll be fairly happy with, in your experience?
I think that, personally, I think you need probably £10,000 of disposable income that you want to put into the market. And personally, if you invest in 8 stocks, obviously a lot depends on your appetite for risk. And I would always suggest people have a couple of £1,000 back in cash in case there's a correction, so they can buy in at cheaper stocks. And if the market takes off, won't really care about the fact you've got 2,000 in cash. To give people an idea of potential, since the lockdown in March, I've actually trapped the value of my dip, but that's with a fairly aggressive strategy. And I've had a good chunk of money in some of the stocks that have gone up several 100%, which obviously helped enormously.
Wow.
But a lot depends on what they're looking to achieve and the level of risk they want to take. And people really need to have a long, hard think about that to make sure that they, they're happy with what they're doing. So say if they have a diversified approach,
yes,
then they're in sort of several baskets. And if one doesn't work out, they only need one to work out, and happy days.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Are there any tools maybe that you recommend those who are getting started or are looking into this to use, or website to visit, rather?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the important thing in terms of a tool is, well, first of all, you need to use a broker that is able to invest in shares in Australia and Canada. And so I suggest people do a bit of research there. Personally, I use Interactive Investors, but there's a lot of brokers that people can look at. But you do need to make sure that you've got a platform that can give you access to the shares that you want to invest in. And secondly, I'd urge people to have a system, as I said, bridge system. They may have another system, but you've got to analyse these companies. You can't just throw money at something that's got gold or silver in its name or is produced.
Indeed. Well, indeed. And many of our listeners here, they already have got other businesses that they are running. And they'll be thinking, okay, if I'm to invest in gold, how much of my time will be required to make this a success?
No, sure. Well, I mean, that's why I write the report, to be honest, because I've got a broad range of subscribers, and the report comes out once a week. It's about 1,500 words. It doesn't take long to read. Probably the most time consuming part of everything is probably setting up your account with your broker. But once you've done it, then I like to talk to people before they start investing, because then I understand more about what they want to achieve.
Okay.
And as I say, the psychology is incredibly important, because just doing an analogy with property, if you decide to sell a property, it can take you weeks, if not months, before you actually formally sign on the dotted line and you sold the asset, during which time you've got plenty of opportunity to change your mind. Whereas with gold miners, you can come in, you might have had a couple of drink or whatever, and you just click on your broker account, which is open till 9 o'clock in the case of Canada and overnight in the case of Australia, and you sold your shares. So you do need to be careful and follow a strict strategy that is that suits you. And I think that I've got subscribers who've made several 100% on a forward, and they said, "Oh, I should be selling that, shouldn't I?" And I said, "Well, no, you shouldn't. I want that to make 1,000% for you." You may have someone who's invested in a goalkeeper who's made 60%, and they say, "I want to hang on to it." And I'm like, "Well, no. You should be selling that, because a goalkeeper, I'm personally looking to get more like a 50% return from it. So unless it's offering a dividend or something, which is why you should perhaps think about keeping it, you do need to sort of have rules and, more importantly, follow them."
Indeed, absolutely. Even in any business, if you don't follow them, you lose. Of course. Yeah. Well, Simon, we are coming toward the end of our time here together. You know, knowing what you know today, if you were to start all over again, and you intend to make it big with investing in gold, what would you do differently?
Well, doing it differently is really what I'm doing now, which is I've got a game plan to get out, and having made I've made 3 times my money. I'm looking to personally, I want to make at least 10 times. But then once I've done that, I want to get out of the market, and that's why at some point I'll be moving into probably other commodities that aren't silver and gold, and then I'll be looking at other sectors of the market if I think it's a good area to be. But as I say, don't love anything that can't love you back. And, selling is important, so you do need to make sure that deliver your strategy. You get out and put your money somewhere else. Yes,
yeah. Well, Simon, thank you for sharing that with us. For those who wants to carry on learning with you, where can they find you?
If you look at my website, www.brookvillecapital.com, that tells you more about the market and what I'm doing. And I have a clarity call on there, which I'd be delighted to speak to anyone who's watching this and find out what they're looking to do, and if I can help, obviously I'll try to.
Indeed. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Simon Popple explaining to you the opportunity that lays ahead of you today, and that is in gold and silver. Again, if you are looking to invest in this very special area, please reach out to Simon or send us an email and we'll connect you with Simon. I truly believe there is an opportunity for you to succeed in this. And again, as we always say, if you take one thing that we have talked about and just apply it in your business, you may be surprised. It could be the break that you need in your business. So once again, have a great day, and I look forward to having you on another very special episode here on Yeukai Business Show. With that said, have a great day. Simon, once again, glad to have you and wish you the very best in your next endeavor. I know you are in East Sussex right now with family, and how is that going?
It's okay. We're on a camping trip, so it's actually nice to be inside for a short period of time. I'm about to go out and get. It's quite windy here, so we've had our team all over the place. So it's good. It's good that I've come home to do this chat with you. So
awesome. I love that. We appreciate that a big time. With that said, have a great day, everyone. And finally, guys, I just want to invite you to my special mastermind that I've created for people like you and I, people who are progressive, people who want to progress fast in their business and create value for their customers. So if you want to be considered to be part of this mastermind, head over to the page using the link below and apply. I look forward to joining you in this very special mastermind. Find out more details on the page below. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Yeukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yukaibusinessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.